Voice. The tone is natural, gritty, and authentic. You balance humor, pain, and sarcasm like a pro. Pacing. It flows well, with just the right amount of backstory and forward momentum. Detail. Concrete visuals. Pottery Barn signs, Frankenstein. Laptop, Mrs. Peterson. Make the story vivid. Emotional impact. The emotional abuse, favoritism, and gaslighting are conveyed clearly without being melodramatic. Transformation. Arc. From unwanted son to MIT standout and tech industry success. It's an incredible arc. Suggestions for next steps. If you're planning to polish this for wider sharing, Reddit, Medium, memoir, or even a film script, here are a few ways to strengthen it. Break it into clear acts. Act 1. Childhood and emotional neglect. Act 2. Secret rebellion and escape to MIT. Act 3. Professional redemption and mentorship under James. This helps with narrative tension and payoff. Clarify your CEO moment. You teased early that you became a CEO. That thread should get a clear resolution. Did James eventually promote you? Did you start your own company? Let that moment hit. Optional additions. Flashbacks to specific gut punch moments, e.g., what Emma's party looked like versus yours. Dialogues to make critical emotional moments, like the what money you'd seen, land even harder. Closure or confrontation. Did your parents ever reach out again? Did they see your success? Final thought. This could absolutely become a viral personal essay or even a memoir. You're not just telling a story. You're showing how emotional resilience, hidden talents, and strategic self-preservation can triumph over toxic environments. Let me know how you'd like to use this. Want help formatting it for Reddit, like R true off my chest or R malicious compliance? Turning it into a memoir draft? Or even adapting it into a script? 1431, a full-time position, he created a whole 1433 new role specifically for Matt 22. I landed a dream job as a security architecture engineer. Translation, I got to build cool stuff and break things, legally. The company was growing fast. When I joined, we were a mid-sized tech firm with maybe 200 employees. But James, the founder, had this wild vision of revolutionizing how companies handled data security. It was the kind of thing that makes tech bros drool at parties. My first real project? Build a new security framework from scratch for our main product. James threw me into the deep end, gave me a team of senior engineers, all older than me, awkward, a massive budget, and full creative control. At the time, I thought he was crazy. Now I know he was testing me. Growing up invisible in my parents, House had trained me to notice things others missed, like a small vulnerability in our competitor's API I discovered during a legal security audit. I stayed up until 1 a.m. writing a detailed analysis and sent it to James. The next morning, he called me into his office. I thought I was in trouble. Trauma reflex. Instead, he asked me to present my findings to the board. Let me repeat. A 22-year-old dev, barely out of college, presenting to a room full of C-suite executives in suits. I was terrified. But the night before the presentation, James stayed late to help me prep, ordered pizza, walked me through my slides. Not in a do it my way or fail kind of way, more like a mentor asking tough questions to make me think deeper. The presentation? Nailed it. The board approved a $50 million security overhaul, my plan, a team of 100+ engineers. And James? He looked at me with this proud smile and said, I knew you could do it, son. He didn't even realize he'd said it. But I did. Over the next few years, things snowballed. James gave me more responsibility, technical leadership, management roles. By 24, I was head of our entire security division, office, company car. But the real growth came in the small moments. James would drop by my office late at night just to talk. He'd tell stories about building the company, mistakes, lessons. Eventually, he invited me to dinner, introduced me to his friends as my boy Thomas. I teared up the first time I heard it. He never married, never had kids, too focused on the company, but he looked after his team like family, and in time, he became mine. By 25, I was the youngest VP in company history. I had a team of 500 plus equity and an office with a view of the Boston skyline. The company hit a $10 billion valuation. We were in talks for international expansion and acquisition offers, none of which James accepted. We started having weekly dinners, first about work, then about life. I'd talk about relationship problems, code challenges, leadership hurdles. He'd offer advice, not as a boss, but as someone who cared. A real father. Then, one random Tuesday 6 months ago, James's assistant scheduled a last-minute private meeting. No agenda. Not a good sign. I panicked. Spent 3 hours imagining worst-case scenarios. When I walked in, James wasn't behind his desk. He was in our brainstorming corner with good coffee and my favorite cookies. First red flag, he looked nervous. Then he dropped the bomb. "I'm retiring." Blue screen. Total crash. The man lived for this company. But then came the real shock. "I want you to take over as CEO." I laughed. Thought it was a joke. I was 26. James didn't flinch. "You've basically been running half the company already. I've been grooming you for this since the night we fixed the memory leak." He pulled out a folder, documentation of everything I'd led, created, improved. A year's worth of planning. "This company is my legacy," he said, "and I've watched you grow into someone I'd be proud to call my son." I cried. No shame. He had a transition plan. He'd stay on as executive chairman, coach me, be there. "Think of it as father-son bonding," he joked. As I left his office, he stopped me, handed me a box. Inside, a key card to his personal lab, the one even senior engineers whispered about. "My son should have access to his inheritance," he said, casually, like he hadn't just adopted me in every way that mattered. But the universe? It's got jokes. The press release about my CEO appointment went out Tuesday morning. By afternoon, my phone was melting. Messages from everyone I'd ever known, and a lot of people I didn't. Then came the one I'd been dreading. "Tommy, sweetie, we're so proud of you. Call us. Love, Mom and Dad." They sent it through my sister Emma's Instagram because I'd blocked them everywhere else. I ignored it, but they didn't stop. Within 24 hours, every long-lost relative popped up. Aunties, cousins, even my mom's college roommate, all saying the same thing. Family is everything. Sure, now that I was worth more than all of them combined. My dad sent a business proposal, said he could help manage my wealth. My mom sent emotional manipulation disguised as love letters. Then they showed up at our holiday party. I don't know how they got in, probably name-dropped me at the door. I was mid-convo with the AI team when I heard my mom shout, "Tommy, there's our successful boy." The room went silent. They put on a full show, smiles, stories, lies. Claimed they encouraged my interest in computers. My dad once sold my PC because I spent too much time on it. Claimed they paid for my education. They didn't. Took credit for everything I'd built. I froze. Then James stepped in, calm, quiet, hand on my shoulder. "I think it's time for you to leave," he told them. My dad tried to protest. "We're his parents." James smiled, not kindly. "No, you're trespassers. Security will escort you out." My mom screamed about how James had stolen me. It was pure theater. One of our devs asked if they were QAnon. After they were dragged out, James looked at me and said, "Son, let's get back to celebrating your achievements." And they still weren't done. The next day, my mom launched a social media campaign about parental alienation. My dad emailed our investors trying to claim I was unstable, real professional, But karma? It's punctual. Turns out my dad had lost a lot of money in some shady investments. Their picture-perfect life was crumbling. They saw me as their lifeline. Emma, of all people, broke down and told me everything. But the best part? James's legal team had been documenting everything. Every message, every attempt, every rant, quietly building a case for a restraining order. So I sent one final message. Contact me again and I will sue you for defamation. Silence. Family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the person who believes in you before you believe in yourself, who challenges you, guides you, protects you, who calls you son and means it.